Imagine being the most feared pirate alive and never killing a single man. You wouldn't need to. One flag would do it and make you worth more dead than a king. Level 1. Ship's Boy. Mark is 14, and he holds the lowest job on the ocean, scrubbing decks, hauling lines, climbing rigging in a storm. 4 hours on, 4 hours off, around the clock. Discipline is a knotted rope across the back, and in 1715, that's legal. An able seaman earns about 25 shillings a month. A boy gets half that, and captains routinely hold the money until the voyage ends, sometimes for years, so nobody deserts. Historian Marcus Rediker studied around 700 Golden Age pirates. Average age 27, and almost all of them started exactly here. So when a black flag appears on the horizon, something strange happens. Merchant crews don't just surrender their cargo, they surrender their people, voluntarily. At pirate trials, crew after crew testified that men stepped forward and signed up on the spot. Mark is about to become one of them. If you enjoy videos like this, hit that subscribe button. It really helps the channel and you'll never miss a new episode. Level 2. Fresh meat. The first thing Mark does as a pirate is sign a contract. Every ship has its articles, a written set of rules each man signs, and they're the opposite of everything he's just left. One man, one vote. Food shared equally. The captain gets a fixed multiple of a common share, not a fortune, and the crew can vote him out. Then there's the part nobody expects from criminals: injury insurance. Bartholomew Roberts' articles, preserved from his crew's 1722 trial, promised 800 pieces of 8 for losing a limb, about 400 times a sailor's monthly wage. Compensation first, then the treasure gets divided. But a new man starts at the bottom of the payout table anyway. Fresh recruits typically earn a reduced share their first months, and they inherit the jobs veterans refuse, working the bilge pump and careening, dragging the ship onto a beach every few months to scrape the hull. No hull scraping, no speed. No speed, no prizes. Mark signs. Now he needs the one thing that turns half a share into real money: a capture. Level 3. Full share. Mark's first capture involves zero sword fighting. The pirates run up the black flag, fire one shot across the bow, and the merchant surrenders. That wasn't luck. That was the business model. Most Golden Age prizes were taken without a fight because everything about the flag was a calculated message. Give up now and nobody gets hurt. The most feared pirate alive proved how well it worked. Across Blackbeard's entire career, there's no documented record of him killing a single person before his final battle. He didn't need to. The reputation did the boarding for him. Gunpowder costs money, a sinking prize pays nobody, and dead crews can't sail captured ships home. Terror was simply cheaper than combat. Now Mark holds a full share, and here's what a share could mean. When Henry Every's crew took the treasure ship Ganji Sawai in 1695, each man walked away with up to £1,000 against £15 a year on a merchant deck. One afternoon, 60 years of wages. Assuming, of course, the other ship gives up. The next one doesn't. Level 4. Boarding Party. When a ship refuses to surrender, pirates have to board her, and boarding is where the profession's real math shows up. Muskets and swivel guns rake the deck at close range. Grenades, hollow iron balls packed with powder, come over the rail first. In the smoke, a cutlass beats a musket because nobody has time to reload. The articles priced every piece of this. Robert's scale went up to 800 pieces of 8 for a lost limb. Other crews paid around 600 for a right arm, less for the left, less again for a leg. When you insure body parts individually, you're not running an adventure, you're running an industry with an actuarial table. And the injuries were routine enough that the table got used. Ship surgeons, often carpenters with a saw, amputated without anesthesia. An infection killed men the blade didn't. Boarding is also where names get made. Survivors talk. Captains file reports. Mark's name is now on a list. In 1717, The Crown priced that list precisely, 20 pounds for an ordinary pirate. His head is officially worth more than his old annual wage. Level 5, Master Gunner. Gunnery is the first true specialist rank on the ladder, and the pay reflects it. In the surviving articles of George Lowther's and John Phillips's crews, the gunner draws a share and a quarter, a written raise for a technical skill. The skill is this: you don't aim the cannon, you aim the ship, then fire on the roll. On the up roll, the shot climbs into masts and rigging. Load chain shot, 2 balls linked by a chain, and it shreds sails, stopping a prize without touching the cargo. A hull full of holes is a payday on the seabed. Blackbeard's Queen Anne's Revenge mounted around 40 guns, battleship firepower on a stolen slave ship, and most merchants took one look and quit. The flags formalized the threat. Black flag, surrender and live. The red flag, too late, no quarter. Mercy, maintained like equipment. Mark can now break a ship from a mile out, but the man who really runs his ship has a different weapon entirely, a ledger. Level 6, Quartermaster. Here's the fact that surprises everyone. A pirate captain doesn't run his own ship. Day to day, the Quartermaster does. He divides every coin of plunder in front of the crew, settles disputes, controls food and punishment. The captain holds absolute power only in battle. The rest of the time, he's one vote like everybody else. The pay proves the rank. In Robert's articles, captain and quartermaster draw exactly the same, 2 shares each. On paper, the ship has 2 heads, and the crew can remove either one. In November 1718, Charles Vane, one of the most feared captains out of Nassau, refused to attack a French warship. His crew called it cowardice, voted him out on the spot, and handed the ship to his quartermaster, Jack Rackham. Career over by show of hands. This is also the rank where the exit appears. The King's pardon of 1717 offered full amnesty, and when it reached Nassau, hundreds of pirates took the deal and walked away clean. The ones who stayed kept climbing, and the next rung is an election. Level 7, Captain. Captains aren't appointed, they're elected, usually the best fighter or navigator aboard, and everything about the job defies what the word captain means anywhere else. 2 shares instead of 1, a cabin any crewman can walk into. Robert's own articles let the crew use his dishes and his liquor. The perks are symbolic because the power is conditional, absolute in battle, revocable by vote the rest of the time. What the rank really pays in is reputation, and reputation compounds. Roberts started as a forced navigator in the summer of 1719. His crew elected him captain 6 weeks later. He then took over 400 ships in under 4 years, the most productive career of the entire Golden Age, mostly because prizes stopped resisting a name like his. The Crown repriced accordingly. The 1717 scale that valued an ordinary pirate at 100 pounds, a captain at 100 pounds, 5 times the head, same rope. And a wanted captain has 1 move left on the board: get too big to catch. Not a ship, a fleet. Level 8, Pirate King. The top of the ladder isn't a bigger ship, it's a fleet. In May 1718, Blackbeard parked 4 vessels and around 300 men outside Charleston and blockaded an entire colonial city, seizing ships, taking hostages, and ransoming them for a chest of medicine. A pirate holding a city hostage, that's what Commodore level looks like. It lasts 18 months. That November, Royal Navy Lieutenant Robert Maynard corners him at Ocracoke and sails home with Blackbeard's head hanging from the bowsprit. Proof and paycheck. Then the whole profession dies on schedule. Nassau, the pirate republic, takes a royal governor in 1718. After Roberts falls in 1722, a single trial hangs 52 of his men. By 1726, the Golden Age is simply over. Here's the number that frames the entire ladder. Historians put the average pirate career at about 2 years. 2 years for most, between signing the articles and the rope, the sea, or the pardon. Mark's demonstration ends the only way a smart one could. He takes the money, vanishes, and lets the wanted poster go stale. The honest world said he was worth nothing. It ended up paying £100 just to know where he was.